Hello everyone. So today's video I'll go through with a tutorial on one the multiple time I found similar kind of scenario questions which need to which will get in the interview basically. The first scenario, this is something if you can read. It is telling we need to read data from one container mm, and process based on the type of the form in that container, whether it is CSV or Parquet. Based on the file format we need to process, and we have to do on top of that incremental load. We have to handle deduplication, schema validation, data quality things, and update the log table for reporting to the stakeholder. If there is some schema validation happen, some any kind of issue has happened, we need to update a proper logging as well. Okay, and finally we have to load in the delta format in any other process container. Okay, along with the schema evaluation. Okay, so that is the simple thing. We need to take from one container, and there will be different type of form, format of form. We need to process based on that particular format, and throughout processing and storing in the delta format in another container, we have to take care this many things like schema validation thing, incremental thing, deduplication thing, and in delta format you have to write, and also maybe data quality check also will be checking. Okay, so these are few important or the common scenario kind of question which you get in the interview for Azure data engineer basically. So I'll go through. Already I have created the notebook for this, so I'll go through with explaining quickly how we can do this one. Mostly this is something like a production ready kind of, more like a real like a data production kind of data or code base, how to handle this scenario. So I have a container which is called landing in the IDLS, and in this we have a container called the folder called raw data, and in the raw data we have different file. Okay, so here as per the scenario we'll be getting different type of file on daily basis or frequently basis. Okay, so we have CSV file, we have TXT file, we might have the Parquet file also. So as we need to process CSV and Parquet, so for example I've added TXT also. Okay, so I want to show you how the data look like. So one of the CSV, the proper data I've opened. If you see, the data is having the customer ID, what is the order value, and order date. Okay, the customer ID is there, what is the order value, and the date of order. Okay, and some scenario case I've added, if you see another file, there is another column I added. Okay, with the value. That means this is not the proper schema. The very first one what I saw over here, we should have the 3 column. So that is one the proper data or the expected schema. And to handle other scenario like in another CSV file I have added like only 2 schema. Here the schema itself not there, one of the column itself not there. And another scenario might be here. If I open what is here, here if you see the column name is different. Okay, so all this scenario I've handled by keeping different type of form, and I'll quickly showcase how the data gonna looks like. So if I uh, run this container what over there, so I just said in this path, which is nothing but the landing container for my particular container storage, storage account. This is my storage account, this is my container, and this particular folder we have this many file. Okay, so the goal is I'll be reading this path by using this dbutils fs utilities, and I'll be checking. If you see, for every file, this is my file which is nothing but order underscore 01.csv. We have different parameter here. This is the file dot path we have, file dot name we have, file dot size we have, file dot modified time we have. Okay, so as we need to, as per the requirement, we have to process the type wise, I mean format wise. So to identify which format it is, I can use this keyword, right? If the file dot name is CSV, then I'll do in one process. If the file dot name is not ending with CSV, that means if it is Parquet, I'll process it another way. Or if it is none of this, then it should not get processed as per the requirement. Yeah, and to read the file, we have another parameter. If you see the keyword file.path, if I operate, we have, see, this is the path itself is there. So that means that the file.path is something I can use for reading the file exactly. Okay, so let's go with the entire code what exactly it's having. So I imported the necessary things to being used, and I added all the path. So let's say this is the raw path, which is nothing but the path where the data being added on daily basis, let's say. And once every type of data after reading, I need to process, right? The goal is to process and load into one of the container, so, or the folder. Let's say we have the process data folder. Okay, I believe it won't be there because we, once we run the data, those particular process will come. Okay, the process data folder will come and all the data will be get loaded inside the folder in the delta format. Okay, and another path we have that is called error log path, where we'll be loading the logs, okay, in the delta format only. Okay, to check what is the log and all, we can check on this path. Okay, so let's go. So what all are they? First, it is I added a variable called watermark date. So again, this is something understandable that I'll be using to filter it out data, right? So, and we can skip for that now. And I have hard coded the expected schema. So if you see, we have schema over here, expected schema. So I'm expecting like the stroke type, all the three column, and this is the data type should be. Okay, this is the expected schema. So this I'll be using for typecasting. So that's why I added. And we have a method that is for logging purpose, which will be log the error message and all. I'll explain this in shortly. And also we have validation method. I'll explain this also again shortly. So this is method for the validation. Okay, so these two I'll be coming. So let's go with and again we have data quality method. Okay, so I'll come back to this method, but again this is by seeing we can identify this thing will be responsible for doing the respective job. Okay, so now let's move with the entire flow. So we have all the file listed on this particular folder, right? Once we read this, it will be getting like this as a list of thing, and every file will be ending up with the file name, file path, file size, everything. Okay, so as I'm explaining at the starting, we'll be reading as per the file name. If the file dot name ending with CSV, which I mentioned over here. Okay, if it is ending with CSV, if the file dot name ending with CSV, that means I'll be processing the CSV format way. uh, where I was, yeah, I am reading this as a CSV with format as a CSV, header as true. And once it got read, what I'm doing, I'm basically typecasting, let's say column come. So I hope you people know that whenever we read without input schema, all the data type, this, the Spark will read as a string type. Okay, that means when we have raw data, if I open any of the, so every data type will be ending off with the string type. Okay, the Spark will make the order date data type also string, order value also string, everything it will give string. So if it is everything string, we need to make it as a how we want. Basically I'm converting to, we want as a string of customer ID, we want the order values to be a double type, the date order date should be of date type. Okay, so that is the same thing I'm casting over here. Okay, once the data is ready with that thing, let's say there is no column of that, that means it will end up with adding the null value. Okay, if it is not able to convert, then it's again it will adding with null value. Okay, that is how it will be. So there the data quality will comes into picture. Okay, so the CSV file and the data changing has happened. Okay, same way parquet is done, and I'm not doing that much with parquet as we're not processing parquet. If not parquet or CSV, we are logging with if you see, we are telling it is unsupported file with severity is error thing. This is the file name, this is why it is unsupported, whether it is not the CSV or the parquet. So what this error, uh, let me read on the, my cluster should not get closed, I want to make it alive. Okay, so where I was, yeah, so I want to say how the log error method looks like. Okay, log error method is basically will take this all as a parameter. If you see severity, what is the file name, what issue was there, what is the detected schema. Okay, and then we are creating data frame out of it, and we are writing into the error log path. If you remember, I have mentioned here, this is the path. Okay, so every time wherever the critical place is there where we need to add the log, that scenario I'll be will be connecting with this log error. Okay, so every time this method will get called in order to update, create the data frame and return into this log path. Again, we are appending over here, we are not overwriting. That means every time one error will come, that will get append into this particular path. Again, the merge schema will be there. That means if any extra also come now, we are handling here also. Okay, fine. So if now file is there, I mean, where I was, if there is no proper format, it will get log over here. The second step is schema validation. Okay, so that particular data frame which you get created with CSV reading, that we are passing to this method along with that file name. Okay, what this method will do, if I open this method now, this method will basically, if you see, okay, if you see, it is checking the incoming column. The df is come now, what is the incoming column name and the data type. Okay, incoming column name and data type, and it is checking what is the expected column name and the data type should be, which is nothing but accepted schema, which we have mentioned here. Okay, now next move. So if in this two we have any missing or extra, we are checking in the incoming column. If anything is missing from the expected one, that means missing column list will come here. Same way, in the expected column, from is there any extra came from the incoming one, then we will be listing out all the column name which are extra, which is not was expected. Okay, and we are checking data type mismatch also. Okay, in the expected column we are reiterating, and we are checking the expected data type and in incoming data type. If you see, this expected data type, which is this one, and in incoming data type are different or same. If it is different, then we are again appending to mismatch this list. And if anything is mismatch or anything is missing, that means that is something critical thing we should not process. Okay, we should skip here itself. Okay, but if anything extra column came, we can handle this with a schema evaluation. Okay, so that thing we are doing here. Also we are adding the log message. If you say log error, you are doing, this is the file name and this is the column is missing, or this is the mismatch has happened. Okay, and so it is a error. Same way, if it is extra, we are just warning it, but we are not skipping it. Okay, now once this validation column, what it will give, it will give either skip or process, right? So when over here, if it is skip come, when this it will return the skip, that time we are continuing, that means it won't go now next. Okay, if it is not skip, that means this if condition only will not get go inside basically. Okay, so validation this way we are handling. Then we are handling for data quality. So in data quality, same thing we are doing in data quality also. If I open and explain, in data quality also we are checking how many null are there. So after typecasting, how many null thing are there. If anything null is greater than 0, that means issue is there. So that time also we are skipping. Okay, the data type issue is there, we are not able to cast, so that's the issue. So we are maintaining data quality check. Same, the skipping we are doing. And then we are checking the incremental thing. Incremental thing is bit simple. I want to again rerun. I don't want to make this cluster get out. Okay, so incrementally, where I was, so for incremental we are checking order date. If order date is only not there, we cannot do incremental, so we are again logging over there. If it is there, we are filtering out. Okay, so this is not the best way to handle incremental, but yeah, for to make it simple, I hard coded somewhere the watermark data date, but we can make it in a metadata table. We can read from there, and once it is updated, we can update the table with this latest watermark date. Okay, so that approach we can do, we could have done, but yeah, for now we are handling with this hard coded one. So after that incremental thing happen, we have the deduplication scenario also. We are handling any, if these two are deduplicated, that means they should get drop. I mean, if these two are same in any of the multiple row, then those should get row. Okay, but drop duplicate is something it can drop in any row. Let's say 5 row is there and 5 row having same customer ID and order date. That means which row to keep and which 4 should get deleted. So that is something vulnerability. Okay, so that's why we do row number and window function to keep only the latest one. Okay, but again, to make it simple, I use the drop duplicate. Then finally, if there is no data itself, I mean there is no processes happen till yet, that means if the delta table dot is delta for that particular process path where I'll be writing, it will go as a false, right? That time the very fast load will happen. This is the fast load. Okay, this is the very fast load. Okay, override we are doing. If you see, this is the very fast load. So this time everything will get insert and we are printing that successfully processed. If once next time if I iterate, it will go with this one because that table already it will be there. Then it will just append. Okay, first file it will overwrite or fast load will happen, and the second file it will just append. Okay, I hope the flow or everything you understood. I'll process and I'll explain how the data looks like. Okay, so let me process this. So if you see, successfully processed order 01.csv file, and again order 2.csv file, order 3 got skip, sorry, order 3 got skip and order 4 got skip, and reason is due to schema issue. Okay, and if I open over here, there should two folders should get created, right? One is for process data, one is for error log. Okay, so if I go back, sorry, inside lending, and if you see the process data is there and we have error log. Okay, let's read this two and see what is data over there. Okay, this is the process path. If I read this one, if you see, the very first table was having this data, right? I should open this raw data. See, order date, order value till 4th of January 2024. Same till here 4th of January 2024. Everything is there. Then the second table thing is there with extra column was there. If you see, schema evaluation happened over here. And for other it became null. The very first table it was nothing having the discount column, that's why it became null. This column, this discount came from the second table, by the way. Extra column scenario which we basically processed. We did not skip that. If I open this, see the discount is added with a 10 and 5, and for extra column we have processed it, so that's why 2 has come. If you see, if some extra column has come, we are processed basically, and with a warning. So this warning supposed to be there. Okay, extra column schema evaluation, the extra column name supposed to be there. So let me read the log table now. Okay, this is the log table. Okay, let me read. See, extra column discount has come and it give the warning, but for other order date is not there, for order date mismatch is there, and for txt file it said unsupported file, it is a error. And for for order.csv file we have order date mismatch, missing two column. These two column are missing. Okay, and I hope you got idea how this flow goes, and you can play with it. Okay, I'll try to share this notebook, and you can run it, you can add some extra things over here, and you can process by your own. And if you like this, I'll really appreciate if you follow or subscribe or share with us few people, and motivate me. Okay, so that's all for this video as well. Thank you. So shortly I'll be adding few other scenarios in questions or critical things which is really gonna use in the interview. because those kind of questions basically in interview look when it's come to mostly at the second round or managerial round, when they want to deep dive more, they want to give scenario kind of question. Mostly I face this kind of scenario, and also with some Azure things I'll be adding now in the next uh, one two video. Okay, so how you like it, do like, share, subscribe. Thank you.